Welcome back to Laser Engraving 911. So on this episode, we're going to be making some leather patches specifically for hats. And I'm going to show you the whole process on how I do that using this heat press, using real leather, different kinds, and using some awesome adhesive from Lone Star Adhesive. So if that sounds like something you want to get into, then buckle up, get your pen and paper out, because we're about to get into it on Laser Engraving 911. All right, let's get this party started. So what are we looking at here? That leather that you saw in the intro of the video has now been laser cut. I cut those scrap pieces out to workable pieces, and then I also laser cut my Lone Star adhesive to match each one of those pieces with a little bit of an offset so the adhesive doesn't bleed over the side. We haven't married the adhesive to the back of the leather yet, but we're going to get into that in just a second. If you want to know where I get my leather, I've been getting it for years from the Hide and Leather House in Napa, California. This is a great place to buy real leather. They have every kind of leather you could ever think of. Super friendly people. You can call and order one of these catalogs for free and they'll send it to you. And if you want to get a swatch of some of the leathers, I believe they have swatch pages that they can send to you too. And it really is a great resource for leather. If you got leather, check those guys out. So without further ado, let's go over to the heat press and start marrying this adhesive to these leather sheets so we can get to engraving and cutting and putting those patches on some hats. All right, so here we are over at the heat press. It's not a super industrial large heat press, but it's just enough for smaller projects. It's by Vevor, and I'll list a link in the description below on where you can pick one of these up. I think it's great for doing exactly what we're doing, but if you want to get into making t-shirts and other kind of stuff, it's a nice little heat press to have in your shop, and it's not too expensive either. It also comes with a hat press attachment and a little sublimation cup attachment that comes with it. Just check out the link below in the description and you can read more about it. It was really easy to assemble. It's got a nice swing away feature that I really like. The dial on the front here is how you control the temperature and set the time that you want. It's not an auto pop, so you do have to lift it up when the timer goes off, but that way you can set your temperature and your time that you want to be pressing, and then you can also adjust your pressure up here. Just a really straightforward, small, compact heat press. The reason I like this one is because it doesn't take up much space in my shop and it allows me to do projects like this. All right, so here is how we're going to use the heat press to marry the Lone Star adhesive to the back of these leather sheets that we just cut out. First thing you're going to want to do is lay your leather face down on the heat press. Then you're going to want to get your piece of adhesive that you cut out to match that piece of leather. And on the Lone Star adhesive, you will notice that there is the sheet of adhesive, which is what we're going to be melting onto the leather, and then there's a cover sheet right here. So you definitely do not want to have the glue face up and have the heat press press down on the glue face up. It's going to be a bad day for your heat press and you cleaning it up off of there. So leather face down, so the back of the leather is facing up, adhesive onto the back of the leather, cover sheet, and then we're going to use these little Teflon sheets that you can buy on Amazon, link in the description below, to cover that. This is just something I like to do as added protection. So once you have all those aligned the way you want them, you're going to put your cover sheet over there. You're going to swing this on over to where it's nice and even. You're going to set your temperature to 235 for 15 seconds. And then we're just going to pull down on the handle and put the pressure on that. And the timer starts on the heat press, so you know exactly how long you need to be melting that adhesive to the back of the leather. Super easy. When it beeps, swing away, remove your cover sheet, and then what we have is this piece of leather with the adhesive and the little cover sheet right here ready to be laser engraved and laser cut so you can make some patches. So you want to let this cool for about a minute or two before you peel off the cover sheet, which is going to come right off. Jana, why don't you come a little closer so we can show them what we just did. So here is what the adhesive looks like after it's been married to the piece of leather that we cut. You can see that it's completely bonded to the leather and it's not sticky at all. So if you just want to do a bunch of these sheets and then store them for later for when you want to cut a patch with adhesive already now ready to go, then this is what you can do. You can just store this for as long as you want, or you can go ahead and make patches from it right away. But this is what it looks like before we go and heat it again, which is going to remelt the adhesive to the hat or fabric, whatever you're going to heat press the hat to.
All right, so I'm over here on Adobe, and if you want to watch an in-depth tutorial on what I'm doing here, you should check out one of my other videos, and I'll put a link to that right here so you can go over and watch that after you finish watching this video.
All right, so we're over here with the hat press now after we've applied our adhesive, laser cut and engraved our patches. We're gonna make a hat for my son who loves Transformers, and we're gonna make some laser engraving 911 hats, and anybody that leaves a comment on this video below, we're gonna be giving some of those hats for free, and we'll let you know in a few weeks who those people are. So, without further ado, let's get into it. One thing I wanna mention about hat presses is never trust what's here on the screen. Even this nice Hottronics from Stalls still had to be adjusted 40 degrees higher than the target than what I wanted. I wanted to be at 295, but I had to put it at 330-ish to get up to that. So you're gonna wanna have one of these to make sure that your temperature is what it really is versus what's showing on the screen. So you're gonna take your hat, whatever style you get, you're gonna remove that little piece of cardboard, take your hat, center it on there, pull the sweatband out, get it nice and centered on there, and this particular hat press has a nice pull down tab, which sometimes is a little tricky. Put that up, tuck it in there, stretch the hat out, there you go. Make sure it's stretched on there nice and straight. Try to line everything up. I'm gonna do a little warm up for a few seconds to warm up the hat, a little preheat they call it. Just gonna press down, do like almost the full 15 seconds. It's probably good. Warm that up. Then I'm gonna temporarily place my patch here, right there. Nice and straight where I want it. I'm gonna lay this over silicone mat over very gently so not to disturb my placement. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and blast it for 15 seconds at 295. And this is an auto pop, so when it's done with the timer, it's gonna pop up. If you have one of those, don't hang your face over it. We're gonna peel that off, and that is how good Lone Star adhesive is. It's on there, and you want to let this cool. You don't want to sit there and start picking and peeling right away. You just want to let it cool off, let the glue that we put on the back, it's already bonded to the fabric, and just set it off to the side. And now we'll go ahead and do my son's hat. He's going to be so stoked on this. Pull a sweatband out, get it on there, stretch it tight. Right, do a little preheat. He likes Autobots. I'm a Decepticon guy myself, but you know, hey, I'll go ahead and make him an Autobots hat. No big deal. So there's our preheat. I'm gonna kind of just flex it, kind of a little bit of a curve, probably not necessary. And then come over here, can see where I'm going to place this. Nice and centered on the center line. I'm going to set my silicone pad over gently, not to disturb my placement. And then I'm going to go ahead and hold that down for 15 seconds. This is a little thicker leather, so I'm going to hit it twice to make sure that it really heats up that glue that we put on there. Boom. That was one time. Just going to do a quick check. Looks pretty good. Probably going to hit it for half the time, like another 7 seconds, just to make sure. There we go. Boom. No lift-offs. Totally mounted on there. It looks great. My son's going to be stoked. So there we go. We got patches, we got adhesive, we put it on the hat, and that's how simple it is to make your own real leather patches with Lone Star adhesive and a hat press and a laser, of course. Now, one interesting thing to note is that while we just put some oil on this, over time, being worn out in the sun, this will eventually get tanned naturally by itself, and the leather will get darker and darker and darker over time, which is pretty cool. But you can also use already tanned leather with this process just the same. This is just what I happen to have in the shop. All right, so Zane, what did I tell you I was going to make for you?
A hat.
Uh-huh. Do you want to see your hat?
Yes.
All right, here you go.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
You want to put it on?
No.
No? All right, well, let's just try it on and make sure it fits, okay?
It didn't. But you can make it my size.
I can make it your size. There you go.
Yes.
Does that fit good?
And next time, do the Megatron one.
Okay, so thanks for joining me on this episode of Laser Engraving 911. I hope you found it interesting on how to marry Lone Star Adhesive, which is an awesome adhesive for making leather patches, to all your different kinds of leather products. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Can you give me a thumbs up? And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I listed links to everything I use in the video down in the description below. So until next time, we'll see you around on...
Laser Engraving 911.
Yeah, that's right, buddy.